Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another Nifty Dreams Founders Town Hall. I'm so excited to be with you here today. My name is Nick Kalyani, for those of you who are joining me for the first time. And what I try to do on these Monday town halls is kind of give you sort of a strategic lay of the land for the Nifty Dreams DAO and tell you a little bit about what the key things are that are happening. All right. So, what is happening? Well, two big milestones yesterday. So, we were already hovering over the 1,000 dreamer mark. And what happened yesterday is we finally crossed that completely. And not only that, but we crossed the 2,000 dreamer mint pass minted mark. So, that was a big milestone. This project is about getting 10,000 Dreamer Mint passes on. And actually, ultimately, it's about getting 10,000 dreamers or artists. But I understand that some people might want to have multiple passes because it allows them multiple votes, multiple tokens. But I feel like in the long term, it will level out and we will actually get 10,000 artists on board. So this is like the very big news, and we are doing everything we can to communicate the messaging of the DAO. I understand that for a lot of artists, who are used to this model of marketplace and sales, it's very hard to grasp the concept of someone coming along and saying that, well, there's a different way. It's going to take a little longer. It's going to take a lot of us to work together. It's going to take a bit of work. They're like, well, I'm thinking about here and now. And my challenge and my team's challenge and our challenge really as dreamers is to help artists understand that you cannot be living an existence where everything is about the next sale. How long is that a sustainable thing? How long is that possible for you to maintain without getting totally stressed out? I already know that a lot of people have given up on it, right? Because it's not sustainable. You can get a sale today, you might get a sale tomorrow or next week. You'll get excited, you'll get that dopamine hit, like we get on social media. And then what? The money runs out and you're back again doing the same thing. What so if you look at this as a graph, it's like you got a sale, whoop, the graph went up, and then nothing, 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 and then the graph went up again, and then possibly nothing, nothing, nothing. And this is not the way we want. What we want is a steady state graph where you have income that's predictable. So you know that at the end of the month you can pay your rent, you can pay your bills, and all of that kind of stuff. That's what we are trying to get to, and that is uh, not an easy task, but we're going to get to it because we are working together and we have a plan and we have a vision and we have very, very active and very, very sort of involved community members. It gives me so much joy to see all these tweets where people are saying, I bought a pass for this person, my friend, because they couldn't afford it. We could very easily just say the pass cost is zero and everyone is well. But that would defeat the purpose. I'll tell you why. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but I want to explain that point to you. If we made the pass zero, right? Anyone can get it. Because this is not about raising money. The income that is coming into the DAO from this raise is totally negligible compared to the 5.5 million we're going to raise from benefactors. But why do we even have that? The reason we have that is because it's having its intended effect right now. Two things. One, those who can afford $25 a year, which I know a lot of people can because it's, I don't know, less than a cost of a latte a month, uh, they will, right? I know personally that there was a time not very long ago when we were paying $150 in gas per transaction. I know personally that I have a collection of a very large number of artists that I have paid in excess of $2,000 or $3,000 for each artwork. So I know that there's artists out there who have the capital. So uh, what we wanted to do was make sure that the Dreamer Pass is for people who really want it, who really, really are involved with the DAO, versus just people who are like, yeah, this is free, I'll get it, and then hang on to it and are not involved at all in the ecosystem. So this approach that we are taking now has has a solidified our thesis. One, the people who are participating are willing to step up and pay. They really believe in the vision of the DAO. That's what we want. And two, we are seeing that by having the multiple, the number five that you can buy, people are stepping up and saying, well, other people who want in but cannot afford it, I'm going to help them. So this is building a very strong tapestry of community. This is really, really important. You can't have a community if you don't have people, helping each other, people knowing each other, people collaborating on a common vision. And this Dreamer Mint Pass is building that tapestry of community. It is the foundation on which this DAO will be built. So you can either, go do a big sale and get people excited, etc., and then build community, which is really hard, or you take it slow and you build the community first and get everyone involved in it. And I think the build it slowly but surely is going to create a much more rock solid foundation on which we can build a DAO for the long term. I always tell people I'm building this, my vision is 100 years. Like other people when I'm gone will think about it beyond that, but my vision is 100 years. And so this idea of having people get together as a community and solidify the vision, the mission as we come together is very, very exciting. The giveaways that people are doing, this is very exciting. It just warms my heart because we need this. We want this. We want this, especially for the ones among us who are not as strong in terms of social media, marketing, etc., aren't able to promote themselves. We need to be their voice. We need to be their champions. We need to help them out. And this whole process we are going through right now is doing just that. Now, let's step back a little bit and talk about what our mission is, right? The mission is not changed. We are staying laser focused on that. Our goal is to make sure that every artist in the world, in developed countries, in developing countries, in rural areas, all of us have the ability to make an income, make a living just through our art. That is a tall order, and we're not going to get there anytime soon, but we can start the journey there. And the journey there begins with innovation. We have to innovate our way through this, folks. We cannot just say that, well, let's just create a new marketplace. Marketplaces are not the answer. There's enough of them out there, but there aren't enough collectors, so we are never going to solve the problem. In fact, I see a point where we're going to have so many marketplaces that there's going to be more marketplaces than collectors. It's a bit crazy. So yeah, we don't want that. What we want to do is find ways in which we can take the NFT art that exists and monetize it in different ways. And in other town halls, I've talked about that. So now it's time to start that process. We don't want to wait very long for that. We want to get going right away. So even though we haven't, completely sold off the 10,000 and we haven't completed our benefactor round where we will get the capital for it, I felt like it was important for us to just get going on it. And so for that, what we've done is started off our first Dream Fund, and that's for $4,000. And for today, I want to talk a little bit about that and tell you about the process that you have to go through. But I also want to share, before I go into that, one other thing. Last time we spoke, I told you about the Dream Forever project. That's coming together really, really well. In case you might not be aware of it, the Dream Forever project is where we are going to take the 10,000 dreamers. Well, it might be fewer dreamers, but it's 10,000 mints that are there, the dreamer passes, and we're going to create a virtual canvas. That's 100 by 100. So that's 100 by 100. That's 10,000 squares. And we want everyone who has a mint pass to contribute 2 pieces of item for each square that they can claim. For the front of the square, they would provide us an artwork. It can be a 2D artwork, it can be a 3D artwork, it can be a movie, it can be a song, it can be a poem, it can be anything you want. And the back of it will have your profile picture, again, any way you want. Now you, get to choose the square you want on the canvas. So it's first come, first serve. If you have multiple passes, you'll be able to choose passes, in a certain order that you want. Maybe you want them in a square shape. You want four of them together. Maybe you want them horizontally as a long row. And then what you can do is you can upload your art pieces so that it fits whatever shape you have chosen. Maybe you want it as an L shape, or whatever shape you desire. Think about Tetris and other games like that, where you have basically squares, right? You can make any shape you want. So the canvas is just like that. Each square is ownable by one account with one mint pass. So you'll have to figure out how you want to do that. If you have multiple mint passes with the same account, that's fine. You can choose multiple of them on there. So what we want to do then is create this canvas. And once it's full with 10,000 artworks, we are going to auction it off. And my goal right now to our marketing team is we're going to identify the biggest auction houses out there. We're going to identify the biggest art galleries out there and really start marketing this heavily to them. My hope and goal is that this artwork, this one-of-one artwork that we mint of all of these composite artworks, will sell for a very, very high dollar amount. Hopefully it's in the millions, because it is a one of a kind. It is the genesis of a DAO, put together in this beautiful Dream Forever canvas. And here's the beauty of it: whatever it sells for through the contract is evenly distributed across everybody. So there's 10,000 squares. Whatever it sells for is divided into 10,000 parts, and so everyone starts off by making some money from it. So hopefully, all of us, by then, there's approximately 10,000. We can market and promote it a lot and get that price to be very, very high, because it's a really, really awesome once in a while thing. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to. Teams working on the design right now of the application, where you can go and select your square and upload your art and all of that kind of stuff. We expect that this auction will probably go for a few weeks, if not a month. We'll have to decide that. We'll probably talk to a few people and also look at historically what is a good time period for that. But one thing that is really important for you to know is that the people who are in this, the artists who are in this, there's going to be a lottery. And what we'll do is we'll have some schedule for it. But as you pick squares, etc., we are going to have a lottery where we pick random squares on that canvas and award them prizes. And the prizes are going to be starting off with tokens. So there's going to be 10,000 tokens, 50,000 tokens, 100,000, and even 1,000,000 tokens. So we are going to allocate and distribute 5 million tokens total across the board, hidden in various places. And the other thing we are going to add there is quite a few slots for your artwork to be displayed on Times Square, on the big, I guess they call it a Jumbotron. Maybe they have a bigger name for it. But the giant screens on Times Square is where your art will be displayed. That is a huge honor for any artist, to be able to have their artwork displayed in the busiest square in the world, Times Square. And I think it's going to be pretty cool that for the entry price of $25, that's all you got to do. You have the possibility of winning up to 1,000,000 tokens, and or the possibility of winning a slot on a Times Square giant screen. This I think is pretty cool. All right, let me see if there's any questions on this right now. I'll take those, and then I'll dive right into the grants. So, all right. So here we have a question. Let me just turn up this banner for a second here. Elmara asks, we should have those tokens now on our wallet, or even if we send them as a gift, we can count a square for canvas. All right. This is where it's very important for people to understand how Web3, DAOs, and wallets, etc., work. This Dreamer Mint Pass that you have, it's a governance token. We don't care who's holding it, but whoever's holding it gets the benefit at that point in time. So if there is a particular benefit happening today and you're holding it, you get that benefit. If you pass it on to someone else and they're holding it at the time of the benefit, they get the benefit. So make sure that you are not giving up your token if you intend to benefit from it. So this is really, really kind of important. So the owner, the holder of the mint pass, is the one who gets to claim the square. All right. Here's another question. I haven't made a sale in more than 2 months from the marketplaces, and I'm okay with it. I know in the long run, Nifty Dreams DAO is going to be a life changer. Yes, thank you. Uh, you're going to see this again and again, folks. I mean, the number of artists who are making listings on the marketplaces and the number of collectors, it's just grossly out of sync. In fact, I was just looking at a bar graph for the month of August yesterday. I'll actually tweet about that today. Watch for that. You will see how the graph is declining to the point where the only income a majority of artists are making is from secondary sales. That's how bad it is. So don't count on marketplaces for your future. We have to organize. We have to get things moving, and that's what Nifty Dreams is all about. You know. So next question is, will works be curated or I can upload any? So we'll have some community standards. Like it is a giant kind of canvas. So we will have your basic community standards kind of rules. I'm not willing to quote on any of those yet. But other than that, whatever you upload in your square, that's you, right? You're making a statement about yourself to the world forever. So if you decide that you're going to put something silly, then that's what you've decided is your statement to the world forever. So I think every artist will think very carefully about the statement they want to make and put something there that is a forever thing. This is not a transient thing. This is in that one piece forever. So whatever you want to represent yourself as that way, that's what you're going to put. So there's a suggestion. Can we have an account allocated to each square like a college school account so one can change the artwork whenever they like? So it would be much more alive. Well, that would kind of that already exists in that you have the account, right? Each account is tied with the Dreamer Mint Pass, so that's already there. But here's the thing: when the artwork is done, we're going to take a composite of it and mint it as a single artwork, right? And that's going to be the one that's published. Now, I understand what you're saying is, could that just be dynamic? That's not a bad idea. I have to think about it. It does mean, though, that the person who or entity that gets it is kind of at risk a little bit. That people will put messaging and things in there that would then be problematic. So I'll have to think about that. But it's not a bad idea. It's a good idea. Let's think about that. All right, looking for more questions here. Let's see. Will the revenue from Canvas is distributed by ETH or Nifty token for the dreamers? If it's Nifty token, will that be staked or liquidated so that we can withdraw immediately, or will it be staked for a year? So here's the thing. This one of one, the Dream Forever one of one, is a standard ERC 721. It is essentially going to, we're going to have our own contract for that, and it is going to be sold using ETH. And in the contract itself, when the payment comes in, is the division to all the constituent 10,000 accounts. There might be fewer accounts than 10,000, but so it's going to be in ETH. It's going to be whatever funds are received. The contract just splits them up. So there is no process that you go through, etc. It's all on chain and it's all fully decentralized. So I think you like that very much. All right. Another question is, if you have two passes, do spots have to be together or can they be anywhere on the grid? You can choose any, as long as a spot is available, you can choose it. And this is why it's going to be very important for you to get in there first. And we will make sure that at the time of announcement of the Canvas app, whoever has a Dreamer Mint Pass, they get to go in first. We will not allow anyone who purchases, after that, to have access to the canvas for a short period of time. So we'll give you a head start. I don't know what that will be. Maybe it'll be, a few hours, 2 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that. But the idea is that this announcement is coming. We are working on the app, right? If you have a Mint Pass, you're getting first dibs. So you're getting the coveted center and all of those spots. So if you're coming in later, you will get whatever's left over. So this is why I say again and again in my tweets, if you're on the fence thinking about getting a Mint Pass, you better get it now because we will freeze the minting for a little bit of time so that everyone who already has a mint pass can go in there comfortably and make their choices so that everyone who comes after that they get to pick only what's left. All right, let's see here. Are there any other questions? Is the auction going to be an online public auction or privatized, and how long would it be? So it's a public auction. We want to make it as public as possible. We want to yell loudly about it. We want to promote it as much as possible. We're going to have a press release about it. We're going to go on all kinds of podcasts and TV shows and everything possible about it. And we want the world to sit up and take notice about this auction. That's the goal. So it would be as public as possible. Regarding the duration, I do not know that right now, but we will make a good decision. And when we launch, we will have that information for you. When will you open up the canvas for us to choose spots? Well, the product team is working on the app right now, so we are creating this nice app where you can go and choose a cell, as we are calling it, and then upload your artwork, etc. And so that's being built right now. We are trying to get it done as quickly as possible, like in a matter of days. So I can't give a date because I don't like to force engineers to a certain date. They're working on it as quickly as they can, and we are going to make it. Uh, you know, I'm thinking a matter of days. So next question: when we mint in a square, it cannot be an existing NFT. Should be non-minted piece of art, correct? This is actually the UI that I was just talking about is going to address this issue. You're going to be able to upload an artwork, and you're going to be able to upload your profile picture. Now, whether you're uploading an artwork that's minted somewhere else or not, there's no way for us to check or validate that. But I think you have to be a little smart about this, guys. If you're going to put something that's already existing somewhere else, that really devalues your square on there. So you should think twice about that. I think it should be an original work of art for this. Remember, it represents you forever. Make it unique, make it yours, and make it so it's nowhere else. This is it. This is the only place you find it. So it should not obviously be another NFT or something like that. Like make it really unique. I think all right. I think there's a lot of questions here about. Okay, let's see here. There's a question here about passes. Suppose I have 5 passes and I give away the 5 passes to my friends. So after that, is it possible to buy more passes? As we know, the limit is 5. The limit is per account. So the contract, if you look at the source code, you'll see that it's got a counter on it, and it keeps track of how many you've purchased, not how many you've had, not how many you've given away, or not how many you're holding at any given time. It's how many you've minted. And so that counter is set to 5 currently, and we may increase that because a lot of people have been asking for that. So we may increase that. Stay tuned. News on that will come later this week. But yeah, it is tied to an account. The account has a counter of 5, and once that counter is reached, that limit is reached, you can no longer buy with that same account. So it says you jump, so need to ask again. We should save the tokens on a wallet, or if send them to our friends, still can counting them for Square on Canvas. Yeah, always keep the token you want to use in your wallet. If you send it, it's gone. They can then benefit from it. You cannot. What is the guarantee of what you said? And also, is it only the DOA who makes the DAO who makes value to the token or not? I'm not sure what guarantee you're looking for. I can tell you there are no guarantees in life. If you want guarantees, then I don't know where you could go looking for them. I'm not certain. I'm not certain what guarantee this person is looking for. I don't make any guarantees. I work hard as an entrepreneur to have a vision, to make a plan, to get a community together, and then work on that. And then whatever happens, happens. So that's the only commitment I can make. That I'll work very hard and have a vision and have a business plan. And there are no guarantees. If there were guarantees in life for a lot of things, especially startups, and you would have a lot of startups, but there aren't a lot of startups. there's a few of them that succeed because there's market forces, right? There's market, there's there's funding, there's customers, there's sales. There's so many variables here. Anyone who gives you a guarantee is an idiot or a liar. And I'm not neither. I'm neither an idiot or a liar. So I will not give you any guarantees. But what I will tell you is that I work hard. I have a plan. I have a track record of success. And you have to either believe that or not. It's up to you. Uh, is the DAO going to have their own wallet or blockchain sometime in the future? Well, we are not going to have a blockchain, I can tell you that, but we do have our own wallet, and we will have a multi-sig wallet, as they're called, so that as different people in the guilds that we will have in the DAO need to spend money, etc., it's not one person that approves it; it's multiple people that sign transactions and approve it. This is very standard for a DAO. Out of the box question, we could see Marvel collage in the background. Did you get the idea of collage from your background? So it's not just Marvel; it's DC also. I just love comics in general. I don't care about the brand. Uh, did you get the idea of collage from your background? Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Um, I don't know how I got the idea. It just popped into my head. But you know what? It might be subconsciously from that. Could be. Yes. Uh, but yeah. All right. So you know what? Let's move on to our topic of the day, and then I will start addressing more of these questions. Uh, let's see here. I think I need to share my screen. So let me do that. Let's go ahead and share screen. We're gonna go here to my empty browser. All right, and let me put on this banner here so you also have the URL. All right, so I'm gonna go to niftyd.io slash fund dash Da Vinci. All right, and let's zoom that in a little bit. All right, so we're going to have a number of funds with this DAO, and every fund is going to have an amount and it's going to have a name. Now, we could be boring and call it Fund 1, Fund 2, etc., but we're talking about artists here and the art ecosystem, so why not call them artist names? So Da Vinci is my favorite, so that's what I decided to name this first one. So this is the Dream Fund. It's called Da Vinci. It kicks off today, and it's for $4,000. So I'm not going to read this document to you, but what I'm going to do is talk to you about the various sections in it and what they represent. So the first thing you need to understand is that the purpose of these funds is for furthering the mission of the DAO, right? The mission of DAO is to enable artists to make a living through their art. So we know that we can have some ideas, but you are very smart and can also have ideas. And we want to give you the opportunity to bring your idea to life. So what we'll do is through this fund, we will take your idea, we will fund it, we will help you get to it, get to execution and success from that idea, and we will provide you with resources. So we'll provide you with marketing, software development, product development, design, all those things that would otherwise, if you were trying to create a startup, cost a lot of money. The DAO will provide all those resources to you. We will have office hours for marketing, we'll have office hours for product, etc., and help you with it. Now, does this mean that if you've got an idea for a product that requires software development, that we'll just go and start building it for you? Probably not. But what we can do is connect you with members in the ecosystem who will potentially collaborate with you. And what we can do is also take advantage of the fact that we have one asset. We have tokens, and we can help you use those tokens to get the resources you want. But in an advisory capacity, the resources we have will be very useful for you. We are starting off very small. This is just $4,000. Our goal is to allocate $1.25 million, but we haven't raised that capital yet. So we can't spend money we don't have yet, right? But we do know we have some capital now. And so I feel like it's okay to start applying that capital and getting that money out into the DAO so people can see how this works. This is the first fund, the Da Vinci Fund. It's probably going to have a lot of rough edges, wrinkles, if you will, because it's our first thing. This is our first time we are doing this, right? So don't expect that it'll be like all super smooth and all that. There might be rough edges. We'll just figure things out as we go. All right. We've got some basic rules that you need to follow in order to apply for this program. And I just created this document like last night. Well, actually, this morning at 4 a.m. So we will get it translated also. So it is available to you in multiple languages. But we are moving very fast and doing everything as fast as we can. So bear with us if it doesn't meet all levels of diversity and quality, etc., that we strive for. So let's talk about the rules, right? First, you need two dreamers, right? We don't want any individual projects here. And I'll tell you why. The key word about this DAO is always collaboration, right? You need to find someone to work with, find a partner to work with, because that's an important thing. So we need two dreamers to be the co-leads of this project. We require that they be fully doxed. So if you are a PFP avatar and no one knows who you are in real life, we cannot give you money. It's just that simple. We want to make sure that we use the DAO's money wisely, and to give it to people who are undoxed seems very, very risky to us. So you need to be fully doxed, and you need to be able to appear on a Zoom call, a video call with the DAO reps before you are given any funding. Right now, uh, you have an age requirement of 18 or older. I know that there's a lot of kid artists in there, and we will have opportunities for you also. But the laws require us to do a lot of extra things if we are, involving kids, and we'd rather move faster right now. And so the minimum age is 18. All right. Now, the project must be aligned with the mission of the DAO. The mission of the DAO is to make it possible for artists to make money, right? Does that mean your project absolutely has to be about making money? No. This is not explicitly it must do that. Even if it indirectly gets us to the mission, that's useful. I'll give you an example. I know a number of photographers out there who want to go to rural areas and take pictures of indigenous artists and indigenous people and how they live. That's perfectly aligned with our mission. Why? Because ultimately, we want to make it possible for those artists to make a living, right? So, how are we going to do that if we don't learn about them? How do we learn about them? Well, we go there and we take pictures and we tell a story, right? So, this is important. The project must be aligned, but it doesn't have to be like overtly, directly aligned. It can be tangentially or indirectly aligned also. Now, you must have defined milestones and capital requirements. How are you going to use the money? We will not give any project all the money up front. You get the money as you achieve the milestones that have been set. So if you complete a milestone, you get the capital. If you don't complete it, you don't complete. You don't get the capital. Okay. Now the other thing is everything that comes out of this must be in the public domain and unencumbered. Unencumbered means that you can't have some terrible licensing, restrictive licensing policy or something like that. You can keep the copyright for whatever it is that you're doing, but you must publish all of the work that you're doing under a Creative Commons license. The purpose of the DAO granting funds is for advancing the public good, which means making life better for the entire world. We are not providing funding for you to personally profit from it. Of course, you can, draw your salary or whatever is needed during the project from the capital, but the this funding is about making the world a better place with art. So if we don't require you to publish the work under a Creative Commons license, then what good has our funding achieved? None. So this is really important. And for those of you who understand licensing, etc., know how important it is. Like licensing drives usage. This is going to become more and more important. We're going to have online sessions just on licensing because 99.9% of the artworks I see that are listed have absolutely terrible or no licensing at all. They don't specify at all what you can and cannot do. And that is a very risky thing for you as an artist. When you mint something and you don't put a license there, it's very risky. You should not do that. You should have a clear license on what people can and cannot do with your work. So this is important. Now, it is possible that your project will create something of commercial value. If that's the case, then the DAO would like a piece of it. It's only fair, right? We are investing in your project, and so we'd like a piece of it. So what we will do is, before any funds are released, we will negotiate an agreement with you. That's a revenue share agreement or an ownership agreement. So that is fair. Remember, I always say the DAO is not in the business of making money, right? It's a DAO who's it's a collective which is about elevating art and artists. But if we are funding a project that is about someone making a lot of money, then it's only fair that some of that comes back to the DAO treasury so that we can then benefit other people. And so that's what that last point is about. All right. Now comes the funding process. So there's a 4-step process that you have to go through for funding. The first is application, and different different funds will have different application requirements. I'm going to show you the dates for this one in just a moment. But this is where you review the application requirements, complete the application form, and submit it for initial review. Now remember, every application is public, right? There are no secrets. This is a DAO. So you submit something, it is going to be public and everyone can read it. Okay. The next step is screening. So what we're going to do then is look over your application and make sure that it's not fake or a scam or incomplete. We will reject all of those. Screening is an objective process. We are not trying to give any sort of qualitative weight to what your project is. All we are trying to do is, did you complete the form as you're supposed to? And are you a real person or persons actually? Because there needs to be two of you. So if we cannot verify that there are two real people and who have completed the form, then that application gets tossed. It just gets deleted. Um, you have the opportunity. If we find a defect, we'll let you know, and you can correct something. So if you're missing something or you haven't provided enough detail, we'll let you know. Our goal is not to reject applicants. Our goal is to make sure that all applications are as complete as possible. So in the next step, people can make a good decision. All right, the next step is voting. This this is the fun part, guys. This is where everyone who has a Dreamer Mint Pass right now, because we don't have the Dreamer NFT yet. If you have a Dreamer Mint Pass, then you can vote for the projects. So what we will do is assign each of the Dreamers 3 votes, and you can go assign them to any of the projects that you want. And there will be a voting period. It could be 1 or 2 weeks, and you'll see that again in the schedule. So that Dreamer Mint Pass that you hold is a governance NFT. And I know a lot of people don't understand that yet. You think of the Dreamer NFT as sort of a token that has monetary value. It doesn't. The purpose of the Dreamer NFT is to give you the right to vote on different DAO things. And so you are going to decide who gets this grant money based upon your votes. Uh, so the next step is the funding. So based upon the votes, the projects will get funding. Now, if there are ties, then we will take it to the project guild members to vote and determine the final outcome. So that's how the 4-step process and how that works. All right, the next step is the application form. So we'll do that last. We'll get to that in a bit. And finally, the funding levels. So there are basically 6 projects that will be funded out of this. 2 projects at $1,000 each, and 4 projects at $500 each, right? So a total of 6 projects. So that adds up to $4,000. And here's the schedule. And let me zoom in that a little bit more so it's easier for people to see. Here we go. So the applications are going to be accepted from now to September the 18th. So you have 6 days to apply. The screening will go on for a week after that, from the 19th to the 25th. The voting will go on from the 26th to the 30th, and the funding will start on October 1st. So that's the basic plan. And let's go to the form now and look at that. Click here. Okay. And let's zoom this in a bit so you can see better. All right. So I'm gonna put a test email here. All right. So what I want you to understand here is that there are basically two uh, co-leads on this, right? There's a primary and there's a secondary. So for the co-leads, you're going to need the first name, the last name, the Twitter handle. And I put this here because I see this all the time, that the application form asks for a Twitter handle and people will paste the URL. No, put in at, and mine is tech bubble. So I'll put that like this. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. The example is right there. You have to do that. And then you have to put in your Ethereum address. So go find your wallet address and paste it in there. Now, we will check that wallet and check to see that you have a Dreamer Mint Pass. If you don't have it, then your application will not proceed to the screening step. It'll stop at the screening step. It won't proceed to the voting step. So there are people in the comments asking for sharing the document. You can see the scroller that's going by. The URL is right there, niftyd.io/fund-davinci. It's right there on the bottom. You can catch it and you can go to it yourself. All right. Then comes your country of residence. We've got a bunch of countries listed here. You can scroll past those. Mine is United States. Like that. Okay. And then, oops, sorry, missed it. Then the time zone. So mine's US Pacific time zone. And the languages that you speak. So I speak English, Hindi, and a couple of others, but they're not listed here. So that's good enough for me. And then click next. Oh, I didn't complete my first name. So let's do that. Right. I'm gonna put in a made up address here. It does not constrain that, so it will allow me to go through for the purpose of this demo. All right, now the same thing for the secondary co-lead. You need to have a buddy, okay? You absolutely need to have a buddy. So I will put my buddy is Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm presuming his handle would be at Da Vinci. It's probably a company at this point. Okay, and I guess it would be Italy, right? Yep. And what would be the time zone? I guess it would be European time zone. Let's just pick. Uh, let's just pick that one. I don't know if it's the right one or not. And probably Italian. Okay. All right. Now comes the interesting part. So that's the basic part around identifying who you are and all of that kind of stuff. But now comes the part that I want to really talk about carefully, because I want to make sure that you do a good job with this so your application gets approved. Uh, so the first thing is a project title. So you want a short, descriptive title. Don't write a book in here. So if your project title is, I don't know, the Rainbow Project or something like that, you can call it the Rainbow Project. And a 1 or 2 sentence description of it, whatever it might be. So this is a short description of the Rainbow Project. It will be very colorful. All right. And then here, there are minimal requirements. I believe they are 500 characters. So you're going to need to put that in, otherwise it will get rejected. So the long description is where you describe your project in detail. The more you describe, the more detail you provide, the easier other voters can understand what your project is. So people are saying it's still blurred. Let's zoom in more. How about that? Is that better? So keep in mind, guys, everyone who's asking for it, the URL is right there scrolling past you. In fact, let me go and actually pause that and see if I can change that from a ticker to not a ticker. Give me a second. I'll do that. And there we go. Let me even make that better. Hang on a second. You started off with the URL. We just leave that on there. Okay, there it is. Go to that URL and you will find the application form, sorry, the requirements and the application form. Okay, long description is where you put in the details about it. And the next thing is we want you to be very clear in telling the voters how this project will advance the mission of the DAO. So we want to make sure that the projects we are funding are making a positive impact in the world, right? So if you have a personal project or a PFP project or something like that, it's not going to get funded. That will most likely be rejected. So make sure that your project here is something that is beneficial to the world and does some good in the world. Then the next thing is, what are the key milestones for your project? Now, for those of you who may not have worked on projects before, a milestone is a point in a project where you've done something tangible. You've got some result. It's a good sort of breaking point, right? So maybe if you're like, let's use the example of going and taking photographs in some remote village of indigenous people. So a milestone might be that you arrive at the village. That might be the first milestone. The next milestone might be that you've completed taking the photos. The next milestone might be that you've done post processing or something like that. I don't know what those would be. That will depend on your project, but you need to tell us what the milestones are so that we can figure out how your payments need to be split up. You decide that. We don't know that. But what we do want is that for the 500 funding, you have at least two milestones. And for the 1,000 funding, you need at least four milestones so the money can be divided up properly. Then the next question is the funding level that you desire. So what is the amount of money you're applying for? If your project can be done with 500 bucks, then choose 500 bucks. If your project can be done for 1,000 bucks, then choose 1,000 bucks. So remember, there are two of the 1,000 project grants available and four of the 500 available. So you have a better chance of getting the 500 than the 1,000. But again, it depends on what your project is. Like if you need $1,000 for your project, then you should put that in the plan. And by the way, any application you do right now for this, uh, if if you don't get it, this competition is going to be intense. I feel this. If you don't get it, don't worry. We're going to have more grants like this again and again and again. So you can then use your application, that you put in. Again, that content is valuable to have, and it's also valuable to have for you yourself. If you're planning a project, to put this level of detail on it is good because it helps you define your project well. The next question is use of funds. So describe how you will use the funds. I apologize for the typo. We'll fix that. Provide as much detail as possible. So what that means is, what are you going to use the money for? So there you have to kind of give us a breakdown and say that, well, the travel will cost $150. My camera, I need this new flash. That will cost, $500 or whatever, and so on and so forth. So break it down and put together a budget. That's what use of funds is about. The more detail you provide, then the better it is. All right. And the last thing is we need a 2-minute video describing the project. It could be longer, but please don't make it longer than 5 minutes. You can use any platform for your video, YouTube, Dropbox, Google Drive, etc. Just post the link in there. And finally, you need a validation code. So I put this in here to make sure that you go read the requirements. If you don't read the requirements, you will not know what the validation code is. So it's a code that's in the requirements document. All you got to do is copy it and paste it in here. That's it. You know. So this is a very simple and straightforward application. We didn't want it to take a lot of your time, but we also wanted you to provide information that voters can use to make a decision. Now, remember, this information goes to everybody in the DAO, right? And when the voting period is on, they're going to read this and they're going to decide if they give their three precious votes to you or to someone else. So your job is to provide more information. If you don't provide information, no one's going to vote for you because they don't understand what your project is about. So be very clear and actually ask for help. Ask for help from the community to help you with the application. You can also ask for DAO members to help. We'll be happy to take the time to review your application before you submit it. So this is the process. Now, this is our first sort of stab at it, right? This is our first um, grant. So we might we might encounter problems. We might have speed bumps, etc. But that's par for the course. Whatever it is, we'll fix it and move on. The important thing is that there's $4,000 available for artists, which for depending on what level of artist you are and what your experience is, might not seem a lot, but I feel like getting $1,000 to fund your project in a lot of countries is a very large sum of money, and you can do a lot with it. So I hope that we will see some exciting projects come out of this, things that change the world and make it better. I'm an optimist. I'm an eternal optimist, and I feel like this here is the genesis of something really, really big. All right. So with that out of the way, it is time to start taking some questions. So let's see here. Okay, there's a question here about why rev share agreement? Couldn't the DAO receive NFTs from project granted the fund? Uh, so the rev share agreement specifically refers to us funding your project, meaning the DAO funding your project, and you creating a commercial venture from it. This has nothing to do with NFTs. It basically means that if you're creating a commercial venture from it, then we want either a rev share or an equity share. So think of this exactly like an angel investor or a venture capitalist. When they give money, they expect something in return. Now, if your project is only about the public good, we don't expect anything in return. But if your project is about creating commercial benefit for yourself, then it's only fair that your partner who funded you, the DAO, should have a share in it. So that's what that means. It has nothing to do with NFTs or anything like that. So, yep. Uh, All right. So it says here, Mark says, I like what I see. Having at least two people responsible for the project may sound restrictive, but increase the reliability on the proposal. Yes. I mean, the whole point is that we are talking about a DAO's money, right? We give it to someone and they just disappear off the face of the earth. What recourse do we have, right? Like to have a partner at least gives us a recourse where there's a partner we can talk to, etc. Ultimately, we are looking to fund reliable, trustworthy persons who have thought through a plan and who are serious about creating value. I know that in the process we will encounter a few people who are not trustworthy, who are just scammers, etc. And no matter how many checks we do, we might, uh, you know, we might not be successful in getting a project completed. That will happen, but we just want to put all the precautions in place and go from there. So this says, can we apply for the project base for December month means for future upcoming month? Yeah, I think so. The One of the things I did not add in this yet is what should be the time horizon of it. So I thought about it a lot and then decided not to keep it in there because some time horizons for some projects might take much longer. So I think it's fair to require that the project commence immediately, like within the next 30 to 60 days or whatever, in some form. But it could take longer to get completed. I think that's fine. So in your case, I think it would be fine to have it completed in December. And Buddy is excited because I call his or her name. Hi, Buddy. Calling your name out again. Great to see you. Uh, how will the DAO know whether the address given and the Twitter handle are from the same person? Well, before we fund, we will do our diligence, right? We'll check it out. Look, there are going to be scammers. As I said, we're not going to prevent us that from, we're not going to stop that from us doing these grants, because ultimately we want to have artist projects created. This is something that you encounter all the time. Like, people actually tell me about in my collection. Sometimes they'll point out, hey, that's a fake or whatever. And I won't stop collecting, or I won't put a lot of restrictions because that happens. I just assume that there's a certain percentage that are going to be bad actors. So we just assume that there's going to be a certain number that are bad actors. But most people are honest, most people are trustworthy, and most people who are in this community, people know each other, right? I like, who are you going to vote for? Some random stranger or someone you already know and trust, right? So I feel like the projects that will get voted upon are projects that that A, are high quality projects, and B, more likely to get voted if people know them. We do not want the project selection and the voting to be a popularity contest. That's not what this is about. It should be on merit. But in the process, if we all collectively vote for a bad project, then we do that. That happens sometimes. All right, looking for more. Okay, I don't understand the co-leads of the project. I created the collection, so how would I have a co-lead? So uh, this is a funding for a project you're going to work on now in the future. It can't already exist. We are not funding projects that already exist. We are not paying to buy your artwork or anything like that. This is a project where you are going to work on something tangible and have a work product that furthers the goals of the DAO. So this could be that you invented a new technique, you come up with an innovative way to do something, you traveled somewhere and did something interesting, you did a workshop to help other people, you created a school to educate kids about art. Those are the kinds of things. So your collection is not going to be something that gets funded. So the co-leads are required because we want two people to work on the project. So hopefully that explains that one. Going here. So to clarify, Tina asks, do all the people involved in applying for the project or grant need to be Mint Pass holders? Or say if I have a Mint Pass and my project partner doesn't, can we still apply? Two people. The two co-leads need to be Mint Pass holders. Anyone else on the project, you decide. Whoever they are, they can be anybody. So when you're getting that $1,000 or $500, how you split that up with other people is how you split it up even in the team is not our concern. But we want the project to be applied for by two people, and they both have to have Mint passes. And yep, that raises the bar a little bit. But let's see what happens. I feel like there's going to be a fair number of people who can meet that bar, and we'll be able to find someone else to collaborate with. And maybe in the Discord, we will set up a Dream Fund channel where people can find partners. By the way, this is something that is not new, right? If you go to a hackathon today, what is the first thing that happens at the hackathon? First thing that happens is all the people who are organizing the hackathon, the different companies, come and tell you about what projects are available. What's the second thing that happens? The second thing is anyone with an idea comes up on the stage and says, hey, I have this idea. Do you want to team up with me and do a project? So you form a team, you find someone to collaborate with and make your project happen. So we'll create the channel in Discord to have that happen. Um, all right. Is there any time limit that project has to be held within limited time period? Yeah. So I guess we already answered that question. Uh, what happens when the community comes together and acts as a bad guy? They vote as a community to commission their work. Well, then they get money. So if the community within the DAO, this is the DAO itself, comes together and does that, who are they hurting eventually? Guess what? Themselves. And if they're dumb enough to do that, then they can get away with it once, but they won't get away with it again because they will be blocked, right? So here's the one thing I've learned about criminals: they're generally quite dumb, and so it's fairly easy to spot them and to catch them, etc. We are focused on the people who want to add value, who want to create interesting things and build up this community. Let's see. Eddie Lee says, "What is the percentage of rev share coming back to the DAO?" Excuse me. I don't know. As I mentioned in the application, if your project is one of commercial value, then before you receive the funding, the DAO will negotiate with you what the terms are. There are no set terms right now. They would like we don't even know what the project is, right? Until we've encountered that and decided to fund it. So how would we know what the rev share is? We've got nothing in mind right now. The rev share is zero for any project that has a non-commercial intent. So if your project is around the public good, then you don't owe the DAO anything. You get this money, you do your project, and you might actually, require, or not even require, ask politely that you do a little video or something about it, so other people can learn. But other than that, you have no obligation. You said the project should be for the world. Means it has to be only something international? No. What I mean by that is it must do some good in the world around us. So it doesn't have to be global in scope in that it works for every. We're not asking you to create a web application that is usable in 65 countries. No. Uh, you know, the world around you. It must do some good in the world around you. So, like I said, a good example would be you came up with a new technique for NFTs, that no one else has done. That benefits all the artists in the world. If it's an interesting new technique, you document that technique, you share it with other artists. That's a project. That is a great project, and it will help the world. So that's what I mean. Um, right? Can we have some help for services like developing, hosting services instead of money? Well, most hosting services these days are free. Like you can go on GitHub and have hosting for free. Most there's a fair amount of stuff that you can do for free. Now here's the thing, right? If you've got an interesting project and the community is interested in it and it's benefiting, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna tell you that, hey, this is an interesting project. Let's take it to the next level, and we're gonna support you, right? The idea here is, I'm going back to this, the model for the Nifty Dreams DAO is an incubator model. Our goal is to identify exciting, new, and innovative projects. Think of this as seed capital, right? We're going to give you the capital to prove that your project has merit. It doesn't have to have like a million users or anything like that. Get your project to the point where you can prove that it's a good idea and it is useful to the world. And then we can take it to the next level. The DAO is there to support you. So we're not just going to say, here, take the money, bye bye, we won't see you again. It's not like that. It is, do this, then let's talk more. Let's see how we can help you grow this. If it's something that's awesome, guess what? We want to put more capital into it. We want to help you. We want to give you tokens, and we want to give you capital as well to help you move forward with it. So each project will be different, and I cannot answer specifically, what your requirements are. But the DAO has resources available to you but think of those as consultative resources. So marketing office hours, come and ask your marketing questions, etc. We're not going to do your project for you, or we cannot do your project for you because we don't have that many people. After the first grant, when will be the next one? Is there any time frame? Like every 2 to 4 months, we can apply for the grant. Well, you're doing your best, Nakul, but not all the artists are doing their best right now in getting us to 10,000. So we need to get this the Dreamer Mint passes sold out, so that I can then go and pitch to benefactors, so we can raise $5.5 million, and we have that money, and then we'll just start doing grants. I would say every month we will have, like, we have an infinite supply of artist names, so we will have Dream Fund Van Gogh, we'll have Dream Fund Monet, we'll have Dream Fund. Pick your favorite. Pick your favorite artist. We'll have a endless series of these grants, and what we'll probably do is capsulize them so that they are like in amounts of 100K, 200K, and so on and so forth, so that each fund runs kind of independently on its own. Like, and it might be possible that we'll also have these funds each have a theme. So, for example, this fund has no theme. Maybe the next fund might have a theme that says it's photography, or it's AI, or it's 3D, or it's sculpture, or it's music, or poetry, or music, So we'll have funds running in parallel for different types of projects also. If someone wants to start their own business via these funds, let's say a mini shop or anything which will benefit them financially, will they be eligible to send the application? No. There's not much you can put in your project application that would convince anyone that you are deserving of the funds if what you want to do is start a shop for your own benefit, right? The, the scope of this has to be more than you, right? Ultimately, we want you to be successful, and I know that $1,000 could help you start your shop or something like that, and that takes care of one person. But it hasn't moved the needle for everybody else. You got to move the needle for everybody, right? We can't just help one person. So this is why it's important that your project plan be something that benefits more than just you. Uh, All right. When shall we start? When can we expect all these happen? Go read the requirements document. The schedule is posted in there. So one thing I've noticed in my short time of 10, 11 months now in this ecosystem is that artists don't read anything. And here's the thing, right? We're talking about money here. We're talking about important things. You have to go read stuff. You have to go read the requirements. They are very detailed and very well spelled out. Need to go read them. All the details are there. You won't be asking these kind of questions once you read them. So read the requirements, and then if you have questions, please ask, but you must read the document first. Let's see. What will the benefactors want for contributing their millions? This is a side thing. Well, they're benefactors. So by their very nature, they don't want anything. They want to benefit. A benefactor is different from an investor. An investor wants something, equity, something. Benefactors are interested in making something good happen, hence the term benefactor. So they want nothing. All right, I think I've covered all the questions here, and I'm sure there'll be many more, and we'll answer them in Discord. So I'm going to ask my team to create a uh, dream fund category, and in it a Da Vinci fund. And so we'll go and have you post your questions there. Uh, it will be token gated. What that means is you'll only be able to go to that Da Vinci channel if you have a Mint Pass in your account. By the way, there is a Dreamers channel on Discord, and most of the future announcements around Dreamers is going to come there. So if you haven't gone to the Nifty Dreams Discord, and if you haven't gone through the verification process, you won't be able to access that channel. So you should do that, because there are many important announcements coming up, especially about the Dream Forever project, and they're only going to go in the Dreamers channel. We're not going to make them public, and so you will miss out. So I think there's only like 300 people or so who have gone through the verification yet. when we know that there are 1,000 of you already. So 700 of you need to go through the verification process. It's very simple. Click on it, your MetaMask comes up, it'll ask you to sign, you sign, and you're done. There's no gas fees or anything like that. You're just saying that you have a Dreamer pass. That's it. All right. So this we've run a bit over here. So this is basically my founders town hall for today. A lot of detail into the Dream Fund. I hope to see exciting projects. I hope to have you push the envelope on innovation, and do something good for the world. So dream on, dream big, and I'll see you online. Bye bye.